The following is a presentation of the Broadband Universe, brought to you by Lit Communities. Get the expertise you need to bring a high-speed network to your hometown. Lit Communities. You deserve better internet. By Vetro FiberMap. Vetro builds software that makes it radically simpler and faster for broadband providers to plan, design, build, and operate their fiber optic networks. By OnTrack Incorporated, providing telecommunications services to a myriad of service providers nationwide. OnTrack, a proven leader in connectivity. And by Vitruvi, build faster, reduce costs, improve quality. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Broadband Universe. I'm Craig Corbin. Thanks so much for joining us today. It is a pleasure to welcome two great guys, Mr. Ron Frye, the Vice President of Market Operations with Lit Communities, and Joseph J.J. Jones, the Executive Vice President with OnTrack Incorporated. Guys, welcome to the Broadband Universe.
Thank you. Thanks, Craig. This is always a pleasure joining you on this platform, and so thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
Absolutely, and of course, both you guys, the reason for today's visit is that both of you serve on the conference committee with the Fiber Broadband Association, and goodness knows we are just coming off a phenomenal event, one of the highlights, I think, in any calendar within the broadband industry, and that's Fiber Connect in Nashville. The Gaylord Resort there, Opryland, was the site of a phenomenal event. I have been to a number. This one, I think, though, takes the cake. JJ, your thoughts about this year's event?
Well, I'm still recovering, to be honest with you. But it was. You're right. It was such a great event. Nashville was good to the Fiber Broadband Association once again. It's always been a great location. We've had the pleasure of being there for several years now, and Craig, just you talk about just what was pulled off this year. We had a great conference committee, great team working on the event really for a year, and really the end result was just pretty spectacular. We had over 200 speakers, 75 sessions, 185 exhibitors. Craig, we had a waiting list that didn't make it. We had so much buzz and excitement of companies want to exhibit. We just didn't have room. With over 185 exhibitors there, 50 sponsors, 5 pre-conference workshops, over 3,000 registered attendees. We shattered our record from last year. We hit 2,100 last year, and Gary Bolt and I were, as we were planning and looking at the budget for 22, we put a number of 2,500. If we could reach 400 more people to attend, that will be a win. But we exceeded all of our expectations. To have over 3,000 registered attendees was just pretty incredible. And we have received just overwhelmingly positive feedback, which is so encouraging. Our goal, and Ron can tell you, our goal is to make Fiber Connect the can't miss conference in our industry. And I feel that we've accomplished that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's no question. And what you just talked about, I think, is certainly a great example of just how much importance everyone is placing on Fiber Connect. The fact that you had upwards of 100 companies that could not get into the exhibit hall, that speaks volumes. The fact that you set records with registrations, people wanting to be there and network with people face to face, the incredible agenda that was put together. And Ron, you and I had a chance to visit before one of the panels that I had the privilege of moderating, the community broadband assessment process. That sort of was on day one, kicking things off, and you could see how invested those attendees were to just soak up as much information as possible. Ron, from your perspective, give your thoughts about Fiber Connect.
Well, Fiber Connect, I've been kind of going back from the old days, back whenever it first initially launched, and it was the conference not to miss. If you wanted to know what you needed to do to deploy fiber, that's where you needed to go to make the network and to get a really good understanding of what you're fixing to step into in the world that you're fixing to be living in. So, and it's just evolved into something that it's just unexplainable to see the growth in where we're at today. I remember back whenever they used to come in town and talk about why you needed to have fiber and trying to sell you on building fiber. I remember those days and stuff. And to see it now where it's at today, and how the conference has grown from being so small, to where it's at today and being like JJ said, it's definitely, if you got to go to one conference and you're in the broadband industry, this is the conference to go to. You just can't miss it.
I know that in talking with a number of people since getting back from Nashville, that is exactly the sentiment that they shared, was that they knew going forward, if they ever ran into anybody who had never attended, they were going to tell them this had to go on the calendar. And, JJ, you mentioned earlier, you're still sort of recovering from that. And I can understand why, because goodness knows you and the committee were so involved all day long from start to finish, and a phenomenal job, by the way, in moderating a number of panels in the General Assembly to kick things off every day. Some phenomenal keynote speakers as well. Talk about that.
I give a lot of credit to Rich Williams. He is one of our partners over at Connect 2. And Rich really helped us really kind of frame and set a focus on what we're looking for, and was able to recruit just a lot of top-notch speakers from breakout sessions to general sessions. The whole theme this year was, if capacity is unlimited, the possibilities are limitless. And I feel like everything just kind of tied together for that. If I had to kind of mention one reoccurring feedback from attendees, was, it was this is the best education content we've ever had, which is just encouraging. That's what you want to hear. You want to hear that the content was rich, and that it was special, and that it was meaningful, and that it added value to our attendees. And I feel like we accomplished that as a conference committee, and really with Rich, his vision and his support and partnership with FBA, for sure.
No doubt. And one thing that I think was memorable, so many memorable aspects to the show, but when Mr. Kevin Morgan did his take on Jack Nicholson and A Few Good Men,
that's right.
That absolutely brought down the house. There were so many people that really enjoyed it. What a wonderful way, though, to have a little fun and passing along such a tremendous message. And you mentioned earlier, JJ, that this really is a 12-month effort for the conference committee, and you have for a number of years, I'm not sure how many, but being the chair of the conference committee, that becomes a huge burden, if you will, that you carry, not for just the time around Fiber Connect, but the 12 months, already looking at the next year's event. Ron has been a part of that committee, and we're sort of reaching an auspicious moment with respect to the committee, and that's a transition in the position of chair.
Yeah,
Talk
be
about
glad
that.
to, Craig. And I've had the honor of, and it really has been an honor, serving as the conference committee chair for the past 8 years. And it's just been a joy working with the conference committee and people like Ron, really on a weekly basis, because there's no rest for the weary. Our conference committee really starts, like you said, it's about a year in advance that we're planning and executing the conference. And so I'm excited to announce that Ron Frye will become the new Fiber Connect conference chairman for 23. Ron's been in this industry for years. He is one of the architects of the fiber deployment with Lafayette Utility Systems there in Louisiana. He now, like you said, serves as vice president of market operations with Lit Communities. And Ron's been involved in the conference committee for years and has always brought a fresh and great perspective from an operator's point of view. This year, Ron served as the vice chair, and he really took a more hands-on approach with the committee and Fiber Connect. And I feel that Ron's ready to be chair. So moving forward, I'll still serve kind of as a board liaison to the conference committee, but I've also got the great pleasure and honor of going to be serving as the Fiber Broadband Association's board of director chair starting in 23. And so I'm excited to be able to hand this off to Ron. He's going to lead the committee and work closely with the FBA's conference partners and Rich Williams of Connect2 that I mentioned, and also David McKinnon of MMS. And so Ron's just going to be a great addition into that role, and I'm excited for him and excited to see what's next.
Well, congratulations to both you gentlemen. JJ on your role as chairman of the board of directors, and Ron as chair of the conference committee. I know that this truly has been a labor of love for you and all the other members of the committee. Talk about this last year being in the role of vice chair and now inheriting the chairmanship of this very important committee.
Yeah. Well, start with being on the conference committee for so many years and stuff. You are involved in it, and you get to be part of it, and you get to see it. But this last year was a whole different realm of what I was expecting. And I was glad to be able to get as involved as I was able to get into, to see the behind the scenes of what was actually happening. So I was prepared to take over. Wish I'd have done it a little bit before, so I'd have known what I was getting into. So when JJ asked me, I'd have had a little bit more understanding. But that's okay.
I did a good sales pitch on him,
I'll
Craig.
pay back JJ. I'll pay him back another time. But it was amazing to see, and like JJ said, the partnerships that we have to make this happen is just, and the inner workings of what goes on behind the scenes is just amazing to see it come together. Like you said, a year worth of work and stuff, and then it's like going to the grand finale of a fireworks, right? And it all comes together, and that's the end. It just happens real fast, and then you get to sit back and take a breather and stuff, and gear up for the next year coming. So it's it's an honor to take that. It's some big shoes to fill. I got JJ's number on my favorite, so it's he can run but he can't hide kind of thing. So I'm excited. I'm really excited to take over and see what this next year brings.
Well, it is such a well-oiled machine, because you talked about, both of you, how many people are involved in so many different areas of responsibility. And then to see it come to fruition for those 4 days during the conference, it is amazing to see how well everything meshes together. And I know that you were excited about being in the role of chair for the conference committee. Talk very briefly about where Fiber Connect will be in 23.
So in 2023, Fiber Connect will be in the Gaylord Palms, Orlando, which is a great location. It's an amazing location to be in. It's got a lot of stuff for families, so if they're coming, family stuff out there to go do, Disney, Universal. My favorite is actually the Ripley's, believe it or not, museum. I don't know why, but I got to go see it every time I go. It doesn't change, but I still go. But it's going to be from June the 12th to the 15th. A little bit different this time around and stuff. Everybody's used to going. That's been going, reattending. They know that it starts on Sunday and runs till Wednesday, and we're doing a little bit of a shift and stuff. We're going to start on a Monday and run it through a Thursday this time around. So, it's a great location, and I'm looking forward to starting it off and seeing what happens on this next year coming up. But the location is amazing.
That is fantastic, and so glad to know that we're going to be back at their location in Orlando. I will say that my better half, that is certainly one of her favorite locations, so she'll be glad to know that. But so excited to have you in that role, and glad to be able to share that news here on the Broadband Universe. This is the Broadband Universe, and it's brought to you by Lit Communities. Light up your community. You deserve better internet. By Vetro FiberMap, radically simpler fiber management. By OnTrack, a proven leader in connectivity. And by Vitruvi, build faster, reduce costs, and improve quality. Our guests, J.J. Jones and Ron Frye, both members of the Fiber Broadband Association Conference Committee. And, of course, when we talk about the calendar of events, Fiber Connect gets the lion's share of attention, but that is not all of the very important work that is done throughout the balance of the year. And there are 2 regional workshops coming up, one in August, one in November, that I would love to talk with you gentlemen about. The first one coming up in, I guess it is August the 23rd, out at the Copper Mountain Resort in Frisco, Colorado. And looking at the agenda, it is a phenomenal, action-packed day. JJ, start with you about this particular
Yeah,
regional workshop.
so just a little bit of backstory, Craig. When this is really Gary Bolton's vision. Is Fiber Connect was touching a lot of individuals, but we felt like as an association, we wanted to try to reach more people, more communities, to kind of share just our resources and just to be a benefit and a resource to communities out there. And so we thought, late last year, let's host some 1-day workshops throughout the country. Let's try to do 4 in a year, including Fiber Connect, and but let's try to touch more communities. And so we were in Baton Rouge, Louisiana in March. We were in Providence, Rhode Island in April. And we had over 175 attendees at each of those events, Craig, which included about 25% of the
Nice.
audience being service providers, which was just great. And so it's kind of a small 1-day event. So what's next? You mentioned Copper Mountain Resort in Colorado on Tuesday, August 23rd. And then we'll do one on November 3rd in Columbus, Ohio. And so the main objective, Craig, is to be a resource to the communities and providers and to help them get started in their fiber deployment journey. You mentioned the agenda. We're going to cover topics such as the community broadband assessment, the value and impact of research and brand positioning, building community support and political will, marketing strategies for new product launches, industry trends and technology best practices, and broadband funding options are just some of the topics that we're going to cover. We're also going to have state broadband directors as part of these events to update what's going on in their particular state. So these are great events to attend. Kind of think Fiber Connect, but on a smaller, more intimate scale for these 1-day workshops.
Well, when you talk about the items on the itinerary, those are without question the building blocks, if you will, for anyone that is even remotely considering getting into the world of broadband. And what a phenomenal opportunity to be able to network with their peers within the industry and gain so much access. That's the beauty, from my perspective, of the regional events, is that you have an easier time, I think, in getting one-on-one opportunities to interact with the people. You made mention of the statewide broadband office there in Colorado. I think your keynote to open up the event, Brandy Reiter, the executive director of the Colorado Broadband Office, the opportunity for people to be able to interact with her staff, phenomenal. Ron, from your perspective, I know you're looking forward to the regional events.
I think that the regional events are really a lot more focused in and stuff. And so when you go to these regional events for the, it's like JG said, it's more for the regional people and stuff. And they actually are able to really fine tune and really listen in on what's going on. There's, you're not switching rooms, you're not, and you still get to do the same. You're focusing on what people are saying, which is really good. But you still are getting the networking. You're still getting all the same benefits that you're going to get at a general conference, but it's a little bit more personal to you, right? And so it's definitely a benefit. I've been to the one that was in Fort Collins. I believe it was in 2019.
Yep.
Which was really good. I was in the Baton Rouge one. Try to make the one in Colorado. I'll be in the one in Ohio. But it's really if you're in the local area, it's just it's like one of those ones that it's just like Fiber Connect. You got to go see it. If you're fixing to deploy or you want to know, you're in that beginning stage. That's where you need to be.
Absolutely, and we would be remiss if we did not mention that there are opportunities for sponsorship for organizations that would like to be even more visible during these regional workshops. And point of contact with the Fiber Broadband Association, Lucy Green, and she can be contacted at lgreen@fiberbroadband.org, and she'll be more than glad, I know, to assist anyone interested in the sponsorship opportunities. JJ, from your perspective, talk about the benefit of being involved in that manner.
It's just a good way to get your name out. There's a lot of new players, new operators, new communities, and this is just a great way for them to be introduced to who you are. And so, with it being a smaller setting, I can tell you it is overwhelming, especially the last couple of years, walking the exhibit floor at Fiber Connect. So many exhibitors, so many people at each booth. And so what this is great, we've got small, almost kind of tabletop setup there for the regional events. And so it's just a smaller, more intimate time to be together, to network, to learn about products, to learn about just different vendor partnerships that you can connect with. And so just a great opportunity at these where you're getting a lot of the same meat and potatoes, but in a smaller setting where it's easy just to communicate and network together. And so it's just a great way for you to be introduced just to fiber broadband industry and some of our great just partners, from vendors to sponsors, that we have.
Absolutely. And again, the next one coming up August 23rd in Copper Mountain Resort, Frisco, Colorado, and November the 3rd in Columbus, Ohio. Guys, I can't thank you enough for being able to catch up on a recap of Fiber Connect, the passing of the baton, if you will, to Ron as the conference committee chair, and then a preview of two very important regional Fiber Connect workshops.
Yeah,
it's been fun.
Been great. I appreciate
thank you
having us, Craig, and letting us kind of update everyone on what's happening and what's the future look like. So I appreciate it.
Awesome. JJ, thank you so much. Ron, congratulations. Thank you again for being with us, and can't wait for an opportunity down the line to catch up with you and do another look-see at what's coming for Fiber Connect 2023. I'm excited already.
Me too. I'm excited too. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. On behalf of JJ and Ron, I'm Craig Corbin. Thanks so much for letting us be a part of your day. We'll see you next time right here on the Broadband Universe. So long, everyone.